Hey there guys, Terence here for Let's Talk Reef. We've got another kind of off-schedule episode here, a really good episode today. Didn't have any intro, got a little technical difficulties there. We'll figure that out before the next one, but we've got Brandon Sullivan here.
Hey y'all.
From Kessel.
Yes, indeed. From Kessel, as the shirt says.
All the way down. So Kessel is up in the Bay Area, right? So it was an easy drive down, right?
Easy by Bay Area standards. Yeah. Yeah. 2 hours for 60 miles.
Yeah, it's definitely not a good drive from up there. So it's what? It's Concord or?
Richmond.
Richmond.
So, yeah, we're about 30 minutes.
Not quite Concord, I guess. So.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say 30 minutes from Concord.
So Richmond is like Oakland, but
north.
Not Oakland.
Yeah,
okay.
Oakland north.
Okay, got it. Well, it's super awesome to have you here. We were supposed to go last week. I booted it. I punted that one because we didn't quite have all the software in line.
Yep, make sure everything's good.
Now everything is there and ready.
Ready to
and
go.
It's not about Paul and I basically saying, hey, this is coming, this is coming, this is coming. It's for real now.
It is. It's real. The app is there.
All
Some of
right.
you may already have it.
So you guys out there, feel free to pop in with some questions and whatnot for Brendan. For me, for the APEX stuff, of course, like always. So happy to have you guys here. Manu, got, obviously Derek from Reef Automation here. Emmanuel Dauxa. Don't know if I pronounced that one correctly.
Got me beat on that.
Robert Cray. We got good old Cuban Reefer here. Certainly some people here running skies already. So we got that going on. We got a sky right back here.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah,
That's the first thing I noticed when I walked in. Couldn't get him to take it down.
Yeah, it's not coming down. It's not coming down. So we'll get into all of that. But first of all, what do you do for Kessel?
So I'm a business development manager.
Okay.
So the role means I basically make sure that we're getting everything taken care of in terms of pushing out product to people,
Okay.
Making sure that the marketing messages are there, our store outreach is taken care of,
Okay.
And overall that we can get what people want into products.
So Kessel is a sub-brand of a larger company, right? And it
Yes.
has multiple brands. So why don't you explain that to people a little bit for those of you out there that don't know kind of the Kessel story?
Yeah, so Dicon Fiber Optics is the company. We started in 1986, and we do fiber optic switches, basically things that go into your internet, browsers, routers, planes.
Okay, so this is data across light, basically.
Exactly. And so in the early 2000s, as California was having rolling blackouts, we decided that an LED business model was going to be one that we'd also pursue because we're really good with photons.
So it came first to do the electronics and all the fiber optics, and then second was lighting.
Yes, yeah. The fiber optic switches was and still is a major component of the business. And then the LED lighting, we started with the dense matrix, the tight cluster of LEDs, and then it became building it out and finding out applications for that perfectly mixed.
Now you guys don't have. I mean, you have a lot of patents on all this stuff, but a lot of different people make something like they call like a matrix, but it's different, right?
Yeah. So the biggest difference is that the patent protects how close you can pack the LEDs together.
Okay.
So there are dense matrices, and then there are less dense but still matrices out there as well that you see on all across the board.
All across. So as far as lighting is concerned, you didn't start out in the reef lighting area, I would imagine, right?
No, we actually started in horticulture. And
Okay.
so we grew 3,000 square feet of tomatoes, 4 harvests a year for 3 years.
Tomatoes.
It was actually tomatoes. Whether that was going to be the application, that was the pivot to the aquarium industry, because we can't exactly go and say, hey, look at all the medicinal plants that our lights grew.
Understood. So back one step. So the company itself, is it based only here in the U.S. or is it a foreign company?
Yeah, so we're headquartered in Richmond. There's 200,000 square feet there. About 150 people work there. And then we have a wholly owned subsidiary in Taiwan that about 300 people work there.
So is it an American-owned company or is it a Taiwanese-owned company?
American-owned company.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love to hear that. Okay, so then you guys started making reef lights. So how did that start? What was the genesis there?
The genesis there was taking anywhere where high-pressure sodium lights and metal halides.
But why? Why? Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you, and I get busted all the time for interrupting people. So
that's fine.
I'm going to do it right now because I get where you're going and why we wanted to change over from that. But what I'm interested in is, was there somebody who was a reef keeper inside? Was there somebody who knew somebody that was a reef keeper and said, this is stupid to do this? Or just somebody just said, wow, here's a whole vertical market of stuff we can go attack?
Yeah, it was more along the lines of people saw that we had a blue light for the root growth of plants, and then said, if you can do more blue, well, then you can do a reef light.
Okay.
And so we worked with one of our local fish stores. That I can't remember; it's since closed. But we worked with one of our local fish stores, put a few iterations together of changing around the LEDs.
Right.
Took the feedback of it needs more pop back to engineers, which drives them nuts because that's very hard to quantify.
Right. Yeah.
Turns out more pop is
Tell me what.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. More pop is UV, in case you were wondering. But you put a little UVA in, and all of a sudden you get the fluorescence out of the corals that we like to see. And so that took a few iterations back and forth. And then we launched our first reef light in 2010.
Right. So how is it? This is an interesting question because people are asking me, how is it? Certain LEDs. Maybe you know this or don't, right? So, we have an LED in the sky that we buy the LED as a UV LED, and it has its peak at 405 nanometers, and it shows a bunch of light going on either direction. How do you guys, what's your understanding of that? Because I think either people are confused or they believe that we're trying to snow them on something or whatever. Because even if you have a 380, right, it has light that's outside even of UV, right?
Yeah.
There's a little bit that could be visible.
Yeah, as you know, LEDs, they have a very sharp peak right up at the top, and then it tails off around the outer edge, but they all have a little bit of a band.
Right.
And so as you overlay those bands, that's how you get those nice, fresh, and wide blue curves that we like to see in a reef light.
Okay.
As you overlay LEDs with slightly different peaks as necessary. And that's how you get the clean spectrum, because otherwise you'd have, if it was only 380, that's a laser.
Right.
And we don't want a laser.
Right, exactly. So the 350 series or the 150, or what was the first?
The 150 was first, and that was 40 watts.
That's a little skinny one.
Yeah,
right?
It looks like a soda can. The 150 was first, and then we moved to the 350, which was the 90-watt platform.
Okay.
And those were fixed color. One setting, on, off. You
on,
can turn the intensity up or down, but that was it.
Right.
And then as we progressed, we pulled together the 10K, 15K, and 20K all into one light. And so that was where the tuna and tuna blue came from. It actually stands for tunability, not tuna like a
not
fish.
The fish. Oh.
Not a fish, which
learning
was new. I would say news to me.
Hey, you guys are going to hear it here. You're going to get all the info, I guess, of the inside stuff, because I hadn't heard that one either.
Yeah, that was news to me. I found the job at Kessel. I was looking for warranty information on my own Kessel light that I'd had previously, and saw they were close to me, and said, I wonder if they're hiring.
So yeah, that's good. That's good. Good transition there. So you, as an individual, you're a reefkeeper first, and then a Kessel guy second.
Yep. Yeah, I was living up in Sacramento. Got connected with Aquarium Depot. So hi Jeff, hi Jason.
Oh, there you go. A little plug for
I was gonna say, hey, they got Neptune stuff.
I was gonna say, if they don't carry Neptune stuff, man, this is live. We'll have to edit it out later. But if they carry Neptune stuff, it's good. Okay.
Plenty of Neptune. They're
well, then be happy about this particular live stream too.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. No, great store. I still go up there all the time. But they helped set me up with a little strip light. And then I tried all the major brands, and I ended up with a Kessil A160, and it was the shimmer for me that did it, and ran that for years, and eventually fried a power supply because I spilled water on it in a water change and needed some help, and that was when I found the job.
And you wanted warranty coverage for that water damage, right?
Yeah, it didn't work out that way.
No customers ever do that.
Well, it was like 4 years. It was like a 4-year-old light too, so it was well outside of warranty. But hey, it was enjoyable. I got a chance, and
So today, what kind of an aquarium do you run?
So I have 3 tanks at home. I have a 120-gallon fish-only system that even I'll admit is overstocked.
So fish only.
Yeah, fish only, because I've got a Humu trigger. I've got a
It's not because
Angel.
the Kessel lights won't grow coral, right?
Oh no, it's running an AP700. Just cause. No, it's fish only because I had fish that were not reef safe, but I couldn't give it up. Big Queen Angel, beautiful fish.
Oh, Queen Angels are amazing, but they'll eat everything, right?
Yep, absolutely. So I got
No
that.
doubt.
I've got a 220-gallon, 6-foot mixed reef tank that runs 2 AP9Xs, and I stuck an A500X on there because I can.
Okay.
Absolutely not necessary.
So when are we going to convert you to skies on that tank?
Oh, probably never.
Never? Okay. It's worth a try.
Yep, worth a shot. Worth a shot. And then I've got one of the, those of you who've been to the trade shows, you've seen the split tank that we have set up, where it was freshwater on one side and saltwater on the other. So we had one that got chipped. So I took it home and repaired it, and it works. And so I've got a split system that at this point is just.
So do you have a lady at home? Because that sounds like a lot of tanks to have and still be married or a girlfriend or something.
I do, yes. And she puts up with it. I'm limited to 3, and those are the 3 that I've got.
So the double one counts as a single?
Double one counts as a single one. I know. It was a clever loophole.
Yes.
There are only 3 glass boxes, but yes, and one's in the garage. So that's the other.
Well,
the other part
yeah, my wife is also big time into the fish and reef keeping stuff too. So she's super accepting for all of it, and has always been. We need a bigger tank. So yeah,
she hasn't gone there yet, but she does like to pick out some corals,
every
now and then. Picks the nice stuff. So.
All right. So now, are you out on social media at all?
I am out on social media.
Okay. And what do you go by in social media? So do you have any hidden names or anything, or do you go by Brendan?
Just Brendan. Yeah.
Oh, bravo. All of you out there trying to hide behind your little names and stuff, Terence and Brendan. Okay? So there's no hiding behind, you want to come out and talk or whatever, you know who you're talking to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm pretty active. I try to be pretty active in the groups. Anytime there's a lighting question, I try to
Reef to Reef, you're out there in Reef to Reef?
Yeah, Reef to Reef. I generally respond just on the Kessel account on Reef to Reef.
So when they read Kessel, they're reading Brendan?
Sometimes. I got a great team of people behind me as well that help out as well. So, yeah.
I don't know, you lose a couple points there because then you can blame it on somebody else.
Yeah. But for me, the Reef to Reef.
But you do have stuff out there. Do you have like a build thread and stuff like that on Reef to Reef? I
do not. I've been meaning to get around to that, and that's one that I got plenty of photos. I kind of just need to sit down and write out the history.
All right.
I could document.
I grilled you enough, buddy.
Yeah.
I grilled you enough.
I like it. Maybe it's the push that I'll need.
So a little bit of the background of Kessel and Neptune systems together. I'll take this part right here. When I started with Neptune systems, there was certainly integration of a multitude of different products on 0 to 10 that were already out there. Specifically, things like the Tunza, flow pumps and whatnot. Those pumps all could integrate on 0 to 10. But it wasn't really a clear path for people to know for sure that something would work with an Apex. Right? There was no guarantee kind of a thing. And so, one of the first things I did at Neptune Systems was say, we need to have something that people know when they buy this product, it's going to work well with this product. Even though it kind of should connect, that we vetted it. And so we created the Apex Ready kind of, setup. And one of the first lighting companies to get involved with this was Kessel. With the A360. Yes. So when they went from the 350 to the 360, I worked with Dave at the time and got the 0 to 10 on there and said, yeah, it works, and tweaked a couple of things to make sure it went to 0 and went all the way to 100% and all of that. And that was really the first big deal of an Apex Ready product was the Kessel light. And there's thousands, and you know better than I do because you know how many cables you guys have sold. Yeah. No, there's a ton. And that was one of the reasons, honestly, that we kept the 360 WE line going. We were building both 360 WEs and 360Xs at the same time, even though they were competing products, because the 360X was not Apex compatible yet. And we wanted to keep that open as an option for people. And this was one of the things, this is then, from the 360 to moving to the 360X and to the AP700 as well, which was before that. Yes. This was the dark ages for me of the Kessel time. Oh, really? How so? because when I knew that the AP700 was being created, I basically tried and said, you guys need to make that integrate because you have all of these customers already out there with their little 360s, right? Their WEs. And it just didn't seem to go through to anybody. Nobody saw that it was really that big of a deal, right? For whatever reason. And then when the 360X came out, and it also didn't have any way to do it, there were a lot of people not super happy as customers, I can tell you. Yeah, no, again, I pay attention to it. I saw it. So that's why for me it was kind of the dark ages because I wanted to keep that around. And for a lot of people, especially now with the Sky, but even back in the day with pumps, we come out with a wave pump or we come out with a core pump. We're still encouraging all of these companies to create integrations with us in order to, have compatibility in a lot of different areas. So I was pushing really hard with it for the 360X as well, and didn't have 0 to 10 at all. Yeah. And we had already the IoTa standard Internet of Things aquarium that we had already had pushed out there a couple of years before and had a couple of companies working with it. And thankfully, thankfully, you guys came out of the dark ages
Yeah.
and said, yes, we want to implement this.
Yes. Yeah.
So how did that happen?
That was we actually when I came in and took over, I'd spent a bunch of time working with our stage lighting, so like movie sets and things like that. Spent some time and came over, and our tanks at our office were not looking great. And so myself and Noah, one of the guys who helps out as well, we said, all right, we need to go ahead. Oh, we got a fly.
We got a
in
fly.
here.
Hey, it's on your hand, dude. Look.
Look at that.
It's a friend.
Look at
hey, wait. Watch, right on camera. Watch. Oh, I missed him.
Flew off.
I'll get him. Don't worry. Oh.
Let's say, in case you wondered if it was actually a live stream, right?
yes. Close that door, would you? I want no more flies in here.
But yeah, so the tanks were in just they were cruising along. Things were alive, but not really. They weren't really thriving. And so we said, all right, we got to get this under control. We need to be able to monitor these because we're gone for a week at a time at a trade show. And so we outfitted the whole system, the three tanks that we're running at the office with APEX systems, Tridents, the whole doses, the whole nine.
Right.
And seeing that I think a little bit of it was seeing that was a key part to our executive team. So
they got a better understanding, the executive team, of what the APEX was and what it brought to the
and just how much we relied on it. There were a couple times where we got a notification that hey, like an ALK was high or something like that, and we'd call our security department after hours and say, hey, can you guys check on the tanks and just make sure it's okay, and seeing that it provided that kind of peace of mind to really just make the Reef successful, gave the push that I think that.
So it wasn't all the consumers then.
It was well, and again, as we're able to, and this is where for consumers, right? As you guys email us, every email we get requesting something does get filed away, whether you believe it or not. It does get filed and pushed on to the development team, and it's just a matter of if we hear it enough. So if you hear something.
This is why I always tell you guys, right? When you're saying, why doesn't this work with this? Why don't you guys do this? Why don't and I say, look, I wish it was us, but it's not us. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to send an email to that company and tell them you want that to happen.
Yep. And
all right.
And we push, and then I think we started talking on this. It was like late last year, I think. It's been in the works for a while, and it took some.
Super happy that you guys stepped up. And what's interesting to me is while some companies are actually stepping back from integration for whatever their reasons are, you guys stepped up, and we have others stepped up like CJ. And really, for us, it's about making all of the main things that reef keepers want to use and control and have that access to, making them accessible to them as much as possible. And it seems absolutely, I'm sure, on the surface strange, right? You're standing right here in front of the sky. It's like, why would he want to come in here and talk to us when we have a competing product? And why would we bring him onto our live stream when we just released a competing product? But the fact is, people want choices, right? People want choices. I can't stand all the shimmer on a Kessil light. It's not for me. Okay. A lot of people love it, and it supports corals and it supports fish. So if you're that user of an APEX and you want to be able to control that thing, you should have the capability to do it.
Right. And at the end of the day, right, we build tools, right? Our job is to build a tool so that box that you have in your living room, your garage, whatever, looks amazing and works well. And with that, it's enjoyable, right? Every reef tank is a reflection of the reef keeper, and so who am I to tell you what I like may not be what you like, and I'm not a fan of the flat look, and so I'll never have a sky, and it's okay, right?
Or you can just put two skies over that tank, and probably one of those 180s or the 80s or whatever, get a little bit of that shimmer back like Ryan did. It can all work together.
Like I said,
it can work together.
And that's everyone.
Get rid of those AP9Xs and put a couple of sky. Get the shimmer there. It's not a problem.
Everything.
Got to try my job here.
It's
okay?
fair.
I got to live up to the.
And you got to put it in. You put a nice big 500X right in the middle. Get a bunch of extra.
If I need to go deep, I'll do that.
Yeah, there we go.
Deal. Absolute deal.
But yeah, so at the end of the day, right? It's how can we make sure that what you want to see, you as the reef keeper and the hobbyist want to see, can make it a reality.
Absolutely. Okay, so which ones work with this integration now? Let's get down to brass tacks, talk about what's integrated, then we're going to talk about and show people how easy it is to set up one of your lights, and then we'll show how it works with the APEX. But first of all, what lights does this work with today?
So the light that it works with today is the 360X via the Wi-Fi dongle.
So that one, okay.
The AP9X, and the AP9X is just a direct connection because it doesn't need a Wi-Fi dongle.
So let's stop for a second on the 360X. So the 360X is the can type light.
Yep.
It has a place on the top where you plug in the dongle, and that thing goes in. That's what gives you the Wi-Fi.
Correct.
And then if I want more than one light, what do I do? Get a second dongle?
You can, if you have more than one light, or you can just link them together hardwired.
Wired connection, love it. Okay,
Yep.
When you can have a wired connection, why not? I've often said
always more reliable.
With the, I love the MP40s, but I always was like, why am I spending for 4 Wi-Fi connections when I've got them 2 inches apart from each other?
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't I just have one Wi-Fi connection and have a silly little wire that connects the other 2?
Yep.
So that's good. I'm glad you guys did it that way. I'm sure it saves the customer quite a bit of money to do it that way rather than include it into the, into the mix.
Yep.
Dude, we got like 2 or 3 of them flying around in here. It's horrible. Just one?
It's just one.
Just feels like 2 or 3? Okay. I'm gonna be like one of those politicians where it's like on here.
Right. It lands on the face
and then,
or whatever.
And then a couple of these guys out there are gonna make memes about it.
Yep.
It's gonna be really good and funny. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so the 360 works that way.
Yep.
And then you said the AP700.
AP9X, not the 700.
Not the 700. Okay.
Yeah. The 700 has been discontinued. It's on clearance. I think saltwateraquarium.com.
So it will never work. So stop asking.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's not going to work with the integration. Because the way these things work is that they've already done the firmware. It's already been put to bed. It's already been end of life. They've got a replacement product. Unfortunately, it's not going to work with it.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
So the newer replacement product is the AP9X. Do I need a dongle for that?
No.
Okay.
That one is just straight through the AP9X out the box. It can be ready to go with the Apex.
Now I'm going to help you out here. There's another little known fact. Not really advertised that much. It's got a 0 to 10 port on it.
Yes, it does. That is 0 to 10 volt out, though.
Oh.
Yes, so that is 0 to 10 volt out.
Why would I have 0 to 10 volt out?
So that way you can control your old 360s, or if you have an H80 over a Fuge, you can link
a bummer.
all
My
of
bad.
All of it together.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I was getting excited. I saw the 0 to 10 on there. I was like, that's great.
Yep.
All right, so the AP9X, you don't need a dongle. You can connect those together. You don't need to connect them together because each one of them is Wi-Fi, right?
Correct. But if you want to reduce Wi-Fi signals, so if you have an exceptionally large fish room with a bunch of different Wi-Fi, you can hardline those together as well.
And these are like USB-C cables?
Yeah, just the K-Link cables.
Oh, K-Link.
Yeah.
Okay. Clink.
Yeah.
The Clink cables.
Yeah, the Clink cables. Yeah. It's a USB-C type connector. The K-Link cables are a little higher quality on the wire. They got a nice rubberized gasket around it. Make sure it's waterproof as it plugs in.
Okay.
And then the A500X is compatible via the Wi-Fi dongle. We launched the A500X, as you guys know, back in May. And so it is in beta right now. It will work, but there may be some bugs as you roll it out because we just haven't had the
But it'll show up right now as a 500 because it's not.
It'll show up right now as a 360X.
It's a 360.
Yes,
okay.
But it should work just fine. But again, we only had about a month and a half of beta testing.
So if you do have the 500 and you use it, just realize it's not really officially supported yet.
Yeah, and if it gets wonky, let us know because that way we can fix it. But my 500 on my tank at home, been working just fine.
Okay, so I'm sure Kessel is not sitting still, and you're developing new products, right? New lighting products, I'm sure, for the reef keeping industry as well. So is this going to continue to be supported going forward? So is it going to be part of the development plan when you develop a new light so that when it launches, it's going to have IoTA developed into it? Yeah,
the X Series communication through that USB-C, that is what we were moving to. It's a lot more powerful and we can do more with it than we could the 0 to 10 volt. So yeah, moving forward, all of our lights are coming.
So you heard it here. The commitment is when Kessel comes out with a new light, it's going to support IoTA at launch.
As long as the Wi-Fi dongle plugs into it, it should work just fine.
I'm just trying to.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, if
trying to corner you, buddy.
I say if we ever came into some sort of like low dollar single on-off, then it wouldn't plug into Wi-Fi dongle, wouldn't work.
Understood.
But yeah.
Understood. Okay, so those are the ones that work with it. All right, so let's do a quick demo to show people how easy it is to connect these things up to Wi-Fi. Those people that don't have a Kessel yet, that are thinking about maybe getting a Kessel or a Sky. Let's see how easy it is to set up, because I've been told it's easy.
Yes.
All right, so let's see that.
All right,
so we've got the lights where? There's one down here. One second.
Oh,
Vincent's giving us the hang on. Okay, go ahead.
All right, we're good now. All right, cool. It's live in the App Store now, Google Play Store, App Store, whatever you'd like. When you log in, you'll select your time zone. So we're San Jose here. The login with Facebook, Google, or Twitter is just a backup.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a scheduled backup if you ever need to. Oh, lost sound, no audio. We're good. Oh,
we're good.
All right.
They're on delay.
I'm all delayed. All right.
No, they're delayed, so that's why he was telling you to wait.
Got it.
It's okay. It's a good live stream.
Got it. All right. So we'll skip that for now. So what we're going to do, we're going to set up a Wi-Fi dongle for this time. The AP9X setup is almost identical.
Okay.
All of it is detailed with some nice, pretty pictures, courtesy of Neptune and Kessle on the Neptune webpage. So please read the instruction manual. It's very easy to go through.
Okay.
So you walk through the Wi-Fi dongle. So you'll notice, those of you who've set it up before, you will see the Apex Fusion control only. So you tap that, and it says, hey, we're going to set this up in Apex Fusion mode. So
this is from the get-go.
Yeah,
That's
right.
What you're saying.
Right from the beginning.
So if I already have my Kessil light, right, and I've already set it up, and I'm using the Kessil app to control it, and I buy the Apex, right, what do I have to do at that point?
All you have to do at that point is you go into the app under the settings, and you press Reset App, and it'll kick you back to this starting point.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you're good to go.
Okay, because that's probably a lot of people are going to be in that, or at least you know.
Yep. Yeah,
for sure.
and so you just hit Reset App. It drops you back to this point.
So that means you're basically one or the other. We have to explain that to people, right?
Yes, it's one or the other. You are either controlled on the Kessil app or you're controlled in the Apex. If you are controlled in the Kessil app, you won't be able to work in the Apex. And if you're in Fusion, you load up the Kessil app, it'll say, hey, you're in Apex Fusion mode.
And you probably shouldn't go back and forth, but we're going to talk to Paul in a little bit. I've got a couple of questions for him in that arena as well.
Yep. So you walk through the wireless router, and it walks you through the prompts. Plug in the Wi-Fi dongle. It says, hey, we're booting. We make sure that there is a solid orange light on the Wi-Fi dongle. And then we scan the QR code that came in the box.
Okay.
And it'll prompt you to join the Wi-Fi network that is being put out by the Kessil app.
Okay.
So we press join. And I'm looking down at the indicator lights right now.
I love live demos.
Oh, I know.
I love live demos.
So it would like to find a connected device on your local network. Okay.
It's working.
It's working. Right. I was imagining the
I'm not supposed to look amazed, but whenever you do a demo, there's a little part of you that's going, oh, yes, please work.
So now all you need to do at this point is you enter in the network that you are connecting to, and this needs to be the same network that your Apex is set up on.
Okay, well, this is going to be a little bit confusing here because
yes,
we have a lot of them in our factory here that are up there.
Yep, but we're connecting the IoTa one.
Yes.
So
we have a special network that we set up just for this demo.
All right, and we got the password, copy and pasted, or not. Alrighty.
Russ wrote it down. Don't worry.
Are those spaces in there?
Yes.
Did he make a complicated one?
It's just long. All right.
We wouldn't want anybody to break in.
So I was gonna say you'll have to change it now. Otherwise, if people walk by and show up your,
I don't think it's gonna be a problem. It's a special network we set up just to do this.
Yep.
All right. So now you're connecting. It's connecting into your network.
Yep.
Instead of you directly connecting to the light's now going to connect to your local network.
Yep. And so right now, what it's doing is it's telling the Wi-Fi, it's setting the Wi-Fi dongle up in Apex mode. So that way, as the Apex, or connecting it to your router and telling it that it's in Apex mode. So this way your Apex can.
So it's like, hey, I'm an IoTA device out there, right?
Exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's all we have to do then.
Yep.
And now it's ready to be on Apex.
Yeah, the indicator light will blink green every 3 seconds to indicate I'm in Apex ready mode. We are blinking green right now. We can bring it up here. We're blinking green. See?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Blinking green. And then next, and we are done.
So this is the queue.
Yep.
This is the queue where we bring Paul in to show us how the Apex side of this works. And then I sit on the side and look amazed and ask dumb questions.
Yes, indeed. That is the cue.
All right, so here we go. We're bringing Paul in. We haven't seen this intro. It doesn't have sound right now because our sound's not working on the intros, but here it comes.
All right.
Oh, and there we are like magic.
Ta-da.
All right.
Ta-da.
You need to lean forward, man, because your head looks like it's about this big, and our heads look huge.
As you said, should just sit here, get further forward.
So we're all trying to squeeze in here into this shot, but
You're framed so well, though.
Yeah, look at that.
Just right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's going to make a great meme.
I was going to say, hang on. Let's bring the light up.
Brendan works for Neptune. The memes are going to be coming, buddy.
Yes, indeed.
But, okay, so now you've got the light set up on the network.
Yep.
And so now Paul can come in and do his magic with the Apex app and show you how easy it is. Okay.
Sounds good. Where is the Apex app?
Now look at this. Wasn't that supposed to get the sexual feeling as his theme song?
It's
Yes.
There's
Actually, we have a new one that's not that theme song because we got that one got knocked out because of the copyright things.
and it's
But
not
it was
it's not in our family of copyrights that we own.
I was gonna say, you got to speed it up just a little bit so it doesn't get caught by the.
Oh, is that how it works?
Yeah, they look
Okay.
for the sound patterns. So speed it up a little bit.
All right, so Paul.
Or slow it
Yeah,
down.
I know. He's
Yeah.
this is how Kessel uses copyrighted material. Just gave away the secrets.
All right, well, it's good to be here today. That was a super simple setup. So I did have a question on the Wi-Fi setup.
Sure.
What happens? So I have to keep this QR code. I'm probably gonna lose that.
All right, so we give you 3. I suggest putting them either on like the back of the Wi-Fi dongle or.
It's not gonna like
stand.
melt or anything like that.
No, it's a sticker.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
You heard it here first. Not gonna
if,
melt.
if you're melting stuff, you have more to worry about than the fact you lost your.
Just don't
sticker.
stick it on the front of your AP9 or
Like
5.
right on the-
Yeah.
like-
Don't put it on
like
the
right on the
lens.
lens?
Yeah. Not
Yes.
ideal. Not ideal.
We've you know, a lot of times people will be setting up lights and they'll be like, "What's that smell?"
Yeah,
And they'll be like, "Did you have it like flat on the ground?"
on your
Yeah.
on your sofa. I
On
saw
your
a guy who
sofa.
put it on the top of his leather sofa across the top. He lined
Yeah.
up a bunch of lights. I think they were Ecotech lights.
Yeah.
And he showed the picture. It had all the dot patterns on the
Yeah.
top of his leather sofa.
If you come to ever come up to Daikon, you'll notice on the desk there's little burn marks
Yeah.
and circles where lights have been turned on
Yeah.
because they were
Oh,
faced
get the
out.
opportunity.
Get the black.
Did I get it?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't.
Oh, you did.
You got it.
There we
Yeah,
go.
It's gone. Yes.
Yes. Success. All right. Paul, show us how it works.
So,
buddy.
Well, hang on.
Go
So
ahead.
to answer your question,
Yes.
if you lose the QR code, you can always manually connect to the Wi-Fi network.
Okay.
The password is the network name backwards.
So the network name that shows up, like when I'm
Oh, what it
searching for
says,
a
okay.
network, it's
Yeah.
the network name backwards.
Exactly.
There you go.
Boom. Okay, that sounds good. All right, so if you had to guess how we were going to set this up, would it be super complicated or would it be super easy? What do you think?
I think everything we're doing lately is pretty simple.
It better be simple.
Yes.
If not, we're not getting
Yes.
the goal. So what is our simple button? It's a task,
Yep.
right? So the task icon
icon.
is right here. It's the notebook, the clipboard. Okay, so we click on that, and then what are we setting up? We're setting up an IoTA device.
Yep.
So we should probably click on that, right?
Yep.
All right. So we click on that, and there's some. Is the device on, and it has to already be connected to the network. So the part that we just did with the Kessel setup and connecting that network needs to be done first.
Yes.
All right. And another thing is that it says there the Apex has to be on the same network. I'm just reiterating the important things there. Same network.
Right.
Okay? So here is the devices that we can set up. We have a couple of C-chain streams that could be set up right now that
Okay.
are on our network but are maybe running in standalone mode. But then we also have this device here that's called the Wi-Fi dongle.
Okay,
Yep.
this is so cool because I haven't seen when we've had 2 of these things yet.
Mhm.
So I had no idea that they would both show up at the same time.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yep.
Yeah,
And important to note too, the serial numbers on there. So
Yes.
if you're setting up a bunch of them at all at once,
You can know.
this way you know which is which.
And the serial number is on the QR code
It's on the sticker.
that you're going to lose.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's also on the back of the Wi-Fi dongle, or it's on the back of the AP9X
Oh man.
as well.
There you go. You
So,
made it
so,
too
so
easy.
you made it.
We
You made
put
it. So you made it so I cannot get in
Stupid
my
proof.
own way.
And it's on your box as well.
Okay.
So
All right.
there's a lot of
All right,
ways
we
to
get
have
it.
your
All right,
serial
got
number.
We get
So
it.
you get it. All right. So some IoTA devices need a password. Kessel
Okay.
is not one of them. Right. So in that guide that is on our documentation page, it says the Kessel is not one of them. Okay. But we're going to go ahead. If you guys ever do want to add a password,
It's right there.
You could. Okay. So we hit next, and then we hit send. Okay. So then it does its
Okay.
Apex thing, right? Now this is when we will banter because it will take a few moments for that to show up. Right.
Okay.
It's not going to just show up instantaneously. Okay. But we're going to go ahead and.
But it's going to come in as like a regular output, right?
It is going to come in as an output. That's right, Terence. So, and we can now see that there are new tiles available.
Okay.
Right. So man, it's like glowing orange. It's just asking me to touch it. I will.
So every time you get something new on your Apex, you'll see that little pop-up.
Oh,
come
look,
up.
there's a blue. Man, that's probably the
Look
one.
at this. Josh Parrott says, I'm so excited for this because I'm installing a full Apex setup with 3 AP9Xs on a 500-gallon on Friday. Awesome.
That's
Quality.
Two companies working together right there.
That's a full-on booyah.
Yes.
Yeah, we got. So anyhow, so here it is.
Hold on, we lost our.
Somebody.
I didn't touch it.
Did I kick something?
Probably you.
Yep.
Oh, my bad.
You and your long legs.
Yeah, that is a problem. It's the one. This and airplanes are the times I don't like having long legs.
We're good.
All right, we're good.
Okay, so I don't know how did we see the orange light and all that? Yeah, hopefully. All right, so then there is a configuration little gear button there.
So you drag that down to the dashboard.
I drag that down, right? It was up here. It's now down there.
Okay.
Okay, and then I'm going to click on the gear button. Okay, and so right now there's nothing.
Right.
All right. So we have a couple of possibilities here. We can create our own schedule very easily by just simply adding a couple points. I can add a point here, and then I can create a graph.
There you go.
Right?
I actually didn't know you could touch and drag up like
yeah,
that.
you can.
I entered all of mine manually.
Yeah.
Drag and drop.
Right. So you have those abilities. If you don't really know what to do, this gives us an opportunity to also look to see what other people have done. So we can click on this scheme button. The scheme button is like the download button.
It's really a great start for a lot of people,
Right.
especially with a popular product.
It's the best place to get started, in my opinion. And so I don't have any schemes saved because I use a Sky.
So let me stop you there, Paul. So basically, schemes are things that you can use for two reasons,
Yes.
right? So one reason I try to tell people is if you want to have multiple setups that you're trying things out, you don't want to lose one. Like, oh, that one looked really kind of good, but let me try something else. You can save it.
Can save a scheme very easily.
And then it's just for you, so that you have kind of like a backup for that one. You can go in and tweak some more stuff and know you can always come back to it.
Exactly.
And then the other way is that you can either go grab shared schemes or share your own scheme with other people.
Right. And I always like starting with a scheme, right? Because then you're probably going to do something similar to what somebody else has already done. And then on top of that, you can modify it to your own needs.
Yeah, and you can discover some pretty cool stuff, especially when it comes to like the CJ pumps or the other lights. You can start to see what people are doing.
Exactly. So Russ has already put one on here, Neptune Russ. He's our, and so this is a Kessel Tuna Blue sort of kind of setup. I can click on any of the points and I can see what color spectrum he's running on, right? So he's running 100% blue, white, 100% VI. What's VI?
Violet, which is a combination of 405. It stands for violet indigo. 405 and 415 nanometers. So it's that deep blue.
Where's the UV?
Like. The UV is already built into the blue.
It's already built into the blue.
Yeah, because you turn the UV up too much, you're going to fry your coral.
Exactly.
So, So that one you don't have individual control on.
Right. And so then you have the ability to adjust it as you go from there. But what does Kessel recommend? We can save a Kessel scheme right now if you'd like.
I mean, honestly, that's a good starting point.
So at a peak intensity, for example, he's going 75%, and he's running 100 blue, 100 white, 100 violet indigo, and 25.
Yep. Real quick, I want to touch on something. So the blue and the white, in the Kessil app, it's done not as an individual blue as in an individual white slider. It's just a color, 0 to 100.
Okay.
So to make it play nicely with the IoTa platform, we had to split it into a blue channel and a white channel. There's no extra control there. It's just a different way for it to interface. So we've put together a translator, if you will.
So what you're saying is that in the Kessel, it's kind of like in Days of Old with the Kessel, where it's a sweep from blue to white.
Correct.
So you're basically these sliders are doing this.
So for example, if I was down here at 0, that's all blue.
That's all blue.
So that's the 0 in the Kessel app.
Yep.
When I'm here up at 100.
But if I put both of them at 100,
both of them at 100 is 50%.
50-50.
Yep.
Okay.
And then all white at 100 is what we would call 100%.
Okay.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah. Russ has put together a really good table that shows a translation.
Okay.
So
we'll show an image of the user guide here in a little bit.
And part of this is because the way in which we've designed IoTa is so that it can work across a broad spectrum of companies that do lighting, and most lighting companies have sliders either for groups of LEDs, the intensity like the Sky does, or single LED channels. It's not very common to have it done the way Kessel does. I like the way the Kessel does it from day one.
I think that's one thing that I always did like about the Kessil lights a good deal is the idea that I could just turn a dial, right, and everything was already populated to where it needed to be.
So we can't customize is what I was getting at, like for every single lighting company. So we have to find a way to try to translate and make things work.
And this is a great example of synergy of how we came together and had a good solution for that. So right now I'm essentially 50 blue, 50 white.
That's
but
correct.
If I were to go down to like put this here, now I'm at 70.
That'd be a little more blue. A little more blue on the color. Yeah.
Are there presets?
So there are not presets at this time.
Okay.
Right? From what I understand, we are working with Kessil to kind of describe a 10K, kind of describe a 20K.
Okay.
That
we'll get some presets uploaded in the schemes.
up there.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But not in the schemes. We actually probably need to translate this to here, or we're never going to do that. I don't understand.
I believe that we might have something in the drop down here for different points for you with different colors, so to speak, and we'll call them something. And then in schemes, obviously, we'll have a couple.
This is IoTA v2.0 Kessel integration.
Yeah, exactly.
So don't ask for it yet.
I think
we're just getting this out the door.
And I think we'll have a couple other things we'll talk about a little bit later of things that are coming that will make it even cooler.
Yes.
Other neat feature right now is we do have the ability to add cloud cover. So this is not a rolling cloud cover, but if you want the lights to dim down periodically, you just checkbox the cloud bucket, and when the lights dim, all of them will dim, right? And when the lights come back up, they will all come back up again.
Now this interface here, this is basically each one of these outputs that we have. They'll be that way if they're separate dongles, as well as if they're one dongle with multiple wires.
So if you were to have, let's say, one light and one dongle for every single one, you would have to configure it on all 4 different channels how you'd want it to, go. So if you did want kind of things to be randomly, like with cloud cover, for example, if that's something that was really important to you, I would recommend 4 dongles, right?
Yes.
But I think that most people are going to want to have one outlet or output that they configure, right? And then all of the lights follow that by using the K-link.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah,
So,
and so all of the lights of the same spectrums will follow that schedule down the chain.
Exactly.
So if they're all linked together.
Just wanted to make sure that it was clear for people on that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Paul.
And so, well, I mean, this is a good opportunity. Would you change anything on this? Like, does Kessil have a preferred sort of running program?
What we've seen, most people don't use that much red or green.
So 25 is too much.
Usually about 10.
I think that's more down to 10.
How does that work with the power from the light, though? So the light is how many watts on say on the 360?
360X is 90 watts if you turn everything up to 100.
Okay.
The red and the green are each only about 3-4 watts. It's not.
I see. Okay.
It's a much the red and the green are accessory channels. They're mostly to highlight certain pigments in coral and fish, versus being something that you can. There's no reason to pump a bunch of green light into an aquarium. That's
for sure.
There's no purpose.
So if you guys
why waste energy?
If they want to know, if our users want to know exactly for real how many watts they are, you could plug that light into your Energy Bar 832.
Yeah, and see how much it's drawing.
Crank that thing up and crank it down, and then you can see exactly how much power each one of those channels is.
Yeah, we did that with the one of the 9Xs when we the first pre-production 9X. We did that. We set it up on an Energy Bar and turned everything up to 100 and turned it down and saw what each one.
It's kind of handy.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotta love that. Gotta love that power monitoring. Well, anyways, I made an example program here, right? Ooh, no. And then I ruined it. But I basically said, let's start off at a nice blue, right? So basically it starts all blue. Then in the morning it comes up to that preferred spectrum. It gets a little bit brighter in the midday, comes back down again, and then goes back down to all blue again.
Yeah.
Would that be the Kessil recommendation?
Yeah, that's very close to the preset that we put into most or into the Wi-Fi dongle and the Kessil app as a whole. So
cool. I'll go ahead and update it. Oh, look, the light turned
on,
right? And then we can save it. So the other part to Terence here is, and I'm going to call this Brandon's, with an A, right?
Yeah.
D-A-N, yes.
Brandon.
Many people don't get that.
Very Irish.
Very, very Irish. Yeah. Yeah. Brendan and Sullivan. There's a lot of Irish cues in there. In case the pasty white skin didn't give it away that I was very Irish.
I'm pretty Irish too.
All right. So if you search for if you got an A360X and you search for Neptune Paul, you'll see Brendan's recommendation there that you can download and use this at the end of the when you're setting things up.
So any of you guys on here already doing this, you know, put a shout out so we can say, oh look, we're doing it already.
Yeah.
I saw somebody already on Facebook or something like that who was already who was waiting for it and was like, oh yes, it's here.
Yeah, the app was live yesterday, I think it was, or maybe Sunday, and so you could have set it up if you knew what was coming. I'll honestly, I'd never really played around with the schemes. I'll have to mess around with it when I get home.
You can make all
and
sorts of different recommendations, and then like, you know, if you're talking to one of your customers, oh hey, you got an Apex, just search my username. Yeah. Search Brendan, you know, and you'll find it right away.
Yeah, so what about on the 9X? So the 9X has more channels?
No, 9X has the same channels.
So it's got the same blue to white deal as well?
Blue to white, and then the violet, red, and green. Same control.
Was that the same way that the 700 was? So the 700 had a lot of independent channels that you could do, didn't it?
The 700 was a little bit different. It had like a color wheel that you in the grand scheme of things, it was actually very much the same setup. But as far as the way it looked on the app, it was like a color wheel opposed to being a.
So one thing we didn't talk about was the Tuna Sun, which is also compatible because it's compatible with the dongle, right?
Yep.
And so with that, you have that's more designed for freshwater, right?
Yes, absolutely. But we know that works, and so
so that also works, and you know, you get different channels with different colors there on the Tuna Sun.
Now, one of the things that we don't see here, okay, is a moonlight.
Yeah. What's that about?
So is there a moonlight on the Kessil light?
There is a moonlight on the Kessil light, and there will be a moonlight in the Fusion.
Okay.
So that's something that we're going to work together, right, to bring forward, is what you're saying?
Yep,
okay.
Absolutely.
So right now, so users basically can only go down to like a very low intensity, but it's still brighter than moonlight intensity, right?
Yeah. What I did is because I do like the moonlight. You know, I get home late, and I don't want to stress the corals by having a 18-hour photo period, but I do like to see the tank. I ran 1% on the violet channel.
1% on the violet channel.
And nothing else. And that was enough, because the violet channel is not a core channel, so there's only a few watts of power being pushed into there. So that worked well as a stopgap, but yeah, it's not a permanent solution.
So for example, if I wanted to do that on this light, I could add that in by just adding a couple more points. So I'd go to add
also
point.
doesn't have a ton of lux for the amount of power either, right? So that's why it's also very dim, right?
Yeah, it's an accessory channel.
Right.
Yeah, it's not the ideal way to do it.
Right.
So my fingers can't get to the right spot in terms of
430, 440.
Yeah, in terms of putting that on there. But you're saying essentially do something like this, and you think that's pretty close to a moonlight, right?
Right about there.
Cool.
Excellent.
And because I think if you set that up, that.
Give me a second.
It's
not going to be. It's the time though. It's right. We're actually right. Actually, what I'll do is I'll preview that point. Hold on.
All right.
Give me a second.
See if we got any questions from you guys. We'll take them. Okay. Questions are: can we buy the shirts you are wearing?
No, unfortunately not. So this was made by the loving girlfriend. She put together the. I'm gonna blind myself with the light in the process. She put together the Kessil logo. She used one of those Cricut craft machines and put it together. So
oh my goodness,
this is custom, one of a kind.
Wow.
Yep.
All right, so that there is the 1% is too little.
Oh.
Needs to be more than 1%, he said.
Oh, okay. Well,
anyways, we're getting
either way.
I'm still on the shirt here, so I'm thinking, why wouldn't you have just given out her Etsy account right now?
No Etsy account.
There
we go.
And make a little side coin off of the logo here.
Yeah, no Etsy account at this point. I don't know if you.
Okay, it's gonna get real bright in a second.
But yeah,
don't point it at our camera.
Yeah, blow out the camera. But yes, there were. You couldn't tell.
What other questions?
There were a couple of small LEDs on.
Well, that's a good workaround. But moonlight is coming in full moonlight support. That'll be under a different channel or something like that, I imagine.
So how do I bring my already set up schedule to the Apex? I don't want to have to memorize and redo it. I don't know. There's a way around that, buddy.
There's not, because you're moving from the Kessil app into the Apex app. So what you're going to do is save your schedule points in the Kessil app before you put them together, and then port it over. The table that
Russ is going to help translate it a little bit.
We'll help translate it, and we'll go from there.
And it really, a lot of documentation can be very bland. I feel, if you don't like reading manuals and things like that. This manual has so many pictures and so much guide. There's very few words and
Rusted
Bravo, very
Russ.
And a lot of pictures.
Manual.
Bravo.
You should see some of the diagrams.
Russ does not want the manual to die.
Well, and
he doesn't want the manual to leave the world. He loves the manual.
Yeah.
And to answer the question too, when I set up mine the first time in the beta process, It took me about 6 minutes.
Okay.
Moving your schedule
Moving
from one
one
to the other.
from one to the other.
Whole thing, start to finish. So
Right.
what we did, the connection and importing my own schedule, 6 minutes.
I think
like
it takes
6-7 minutes.
I think it
was
takes like
not
about
that
2
long.
or 3 on the sky to set
Yeah.
Because it
it's-
hasn't been set up yet.
You know,
It's newer. You know,
you know.
this is tried and true.
See, look at all the diagrams.
There we go. Look
Yeah,
at this.
a ton of
Yeah,
diagrams.
yeah, He's got it all worked out. Even like gave a fish store example. You know, you want to run 20 lights? Let me show you how.
And look at the line drawings he did too.
Dude,
Yeah.
no,
Okay.
they all are like this. It's
I
great,
know.
man. I love it.
Yeah, plenty of options.
Great job,
Plenty of
Russ. Great
options.
job.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
Morgan
this-
Hill Aquatics.
Yeah.
If you guys want to go if you guys want to see Russ, who did this thing, you can go out to Instagram today. I posted up a picture with Russ in it of getting stuff together, and follow us on Instagram. We're trying to be a little more Instagram active
Oh, look at you
right now. I
Getting-
know.
Getting with the younger generation.
I know. I mean, it's the gray shows. But
You guys gonna hop on TikTok then
Yeah.
next? Is that
I'll tell you what. I'll let you and Paul dance on TikTok, and I'll
All
shoot
right,
it.
all
Okay.
right.
Definitely. But anyways, great. I really like that we're bringing this stuff to reef keepers. It's what they want. I've said. So we get asked the question, why don't you guys open up the API to everybody?
Mhm.
And for a myriad of reasons, that's not possible. One of the biggest ones is support and what it takes to actually make that happen and have it be secure.
Yeah.
And then support all the people under it. So that's not something that we do. But what we have a very open way to work with anybody on the IoTa product. So if a company has a product, especially if it's a product that their customer base is screaming for the integration, and they go, hey, we want to be in IoTa, we'll send them the spec, and they can basically get working on it.
And I mean, in terms of the spec, it's fully developed. Kessel
Mhm.
basically implemented it. There were a couple things that we needed to change to work so they could work
Right.
together. But I mean, the protocol is set up. It's been written. It's if you have engineers with chops, they're going to be able to integrate it very, very easily.
So when people ask, why aren't you working with X company?
Ask
It ain't
X
because
company.
of us. Okay,
Yeah.
ask them, because we're here to make it work. And
I mean,
CJ, Kessel, all of them.
And I really liked your guys' analogy earlier of the tool, right? You know, I mean, there are different tools for different jobs, for different preferences, you know, and I think one thing that we want to put the APEX in the place of is allowing you to work with the tools that you want to work with.
Yeah.
You know, and it's great that Kessel, put the energy and the effort into making that happen too.
Yeah, there's no reason that a toolbox can't have tools of different brands.
Exactly.
Okay, so anything else you want to say before we close this down?
No, I mean at this point,
You made it through?
Oh yeah, I made it through. This is through the ringer. Yeah, at this point, set them up, and if you find something that breaks, tell us. And if you see stuff that you want, tell us.
Yeah, and our support team is all ready to help people out too,
Our
right?
support team's been trained up on it. They're ready to go. And the documentation is posted on the website.
Yep.
I think Kessel will probably link that documentation also from their website. And it should be a good integration.
Excellent.
So,
Well, with that, guys, we're gonna cut it off here. I think this is it. Ryan's giving away 3 AP9Xs in 5 minutes. But for today, that's it for now. So we'll see you guys later. Enjoy those fish. Later.
thanks, guys.
See ya.